Alright, what's up guys? So today I'm gonna just do a quick video on putting together some jugs. Show you how I build jugs for catfishing. Generally you get 3 out of one pool noodle. So basically just kind of eyeball it so that you end up with three equal parts. Just take your knife. So there we got our jugs cut. I'm going to be making weights out of these little Dixie cups today. Sometimes for bigger lakes, deeper lakes, if I want a heavier weight, I'll use like red Solo cups and we'll just fill them up with some Quikrete. So this bag, it's a 40-pound bag, was like $5, and I can make, I don't know, a bunch of weights out of this. So for these jugs, I'm just going to be using them out here on the river. I'm just going to use these little Dixie cups, and what we'll do is you can either use like a piece of galvanized wire, if you've got some of that laying around, just make a loop out of it and stick that down in there. Or on these ones, I'm just going to be using some old screws. I've got a box of old screws here that I'm not going to use for anything, and I'll just stick those down in there, and we'll just tie the line off to those for the. Alright, look at that. So I'm just gonna make a dozen or so of these, maybe more. I've got about half a bucket full of this concrete. Like I said, I'll use red Solo cups, make bigger ones, fill them like halfway, 3/4 of the way, depending on how deep you're going to be fishing. I'm just going to take some of these old screws. I've got a bunch of boxes of these like a lot of people do. Just random screws and bolts and stuff. I'm just going to stick some screws down in there. And then I'll just wait for them to dry. So some people will tie these off right in the middle. I like to go towards one edge, about like that. And that way, if you get a good sized fish on and it pulls it, it'll stand it up. Alright, I brought a light over here so maybe you can actually see what I'm doing. What we're going to do is, I'm going to come up probably about 16 inches or so from the bottom. That's where I'm going to put my first hook. I'm going to run 2 hooks on these. Depending on where you're at, I know in Oklahoma, I think you can have up to 5 hooks. I don't know if there's a hook limit in Arkansas where I'm at, but just check your regulations on that. So I usually put 2 hooks on mine. So I'm going to come up about 16 inches, and then the way I do this, instead of using like swivels or anything like that, all I do is I pull off however far I want my hook to come off my main line. It's about 8 inches right there. And just make a little loop. Just tie that off. So now I've got, my weight will be there, I'm coming up 16 inches, and then I'll have this little loop coming off. Then I'll go up however far I want my next hook to be, probably about another 16, and I'll just do that again. Tie myself another loop, just like that. So we'll have our weight, we'll have a loop, and another loop. And then we'll take our hooks. I'm using Circle C hooks on these. I like circle hooks better than regular J hooks, but either one will work. I use them both. So take this loop. This is just a real easy way to do this. Take this loop and we'll stick the end of the loop through the eye of the hook. Pull it through. And then we'll just stick the hook through that loop. Pull that back. I'll show you that again on my top loop. Just take your loop, take the end of it, stick it through the eye of the hook. This is where that smaller diameter bank line makes it a lot easier. So we'll just pull a little bit through there and then just stick your hook right through that loop and pull it back tight. So we've got our 2 hooks on there, and we'll just tie our weight on. We'll be good to go. Just wind your line on there, kind of in one spot where it's tied on. Then take your hook loop and just wrap it around and just stick your hook there in the top. Then just keep winding between the 2 loops. Bring your second one in, hook it in, and then everything's nice and compact. You just have your weight hanging off there. Alright, so we've got our main line here coming up, probably about 4 or 5 foot there, maybe about 6 foot. Then we've got our first hook about 18 inches down, second hook, and then a little bit of weight. The last step is going to be to write your information on here with a Sharpie. Again, that's going to depend on where you're at. Some places you have to have your name and address, phone number. Some places you just have to have like your conservation ID number from the Game and Fish. Some places you can put your like driver's license number. It just depends on where you're at, what's required, so look up your regs there as well. That's going to be it. We're going to go put these to use. See you next time.